The only problem with these gaskets that I showed you for the 8-pot is they don't fit. The smaller ones, or the thin ones, these ones, you need to take them out to make them fit. And the big fat ones, these ones that are made out of rubber, these are the £9 each ones, they don't fit unless you do that with them to make them fit the holes, the mounting holes at either end. So yeah, I'm having to cut the thin ones with a craft knife just to get them the right size. The hole in the middle of here is the right size, but the whole actual thing itself doesn't fit very well, and I think I won't be using it. It's better to use a thin gasket, I think. So yeah, pain in the ass. So obviously you can see this is the fancy bracket that I've made to hold the alternator in place. It's got a leg that comes off the thermostat housing into here. The main body of it is fastened to the exhaust manifold studs. There's a big right angle on it. This is the pulley. I had to chop great amounts of it off to make it fit, but it seems to do the job. And this is the overall view. It doesn't look too bad. I've already done some measuring with the belts going all the proper way around. This was just me testing it, and I think, what was the dimensions of it down? Yeah, I think a belt of around 1.47 meters should be alright. Should be alright, but I'll probably get a couple of sizes just to make sure. And I've got plenty of adjustment here in me bracket. Bracket was made in the normal way. If anybody's watched Project Binky, card, bits of card, then thicker card, and then finally in some metal. It's fairly thick metal at 4mm. If you're watching this, Nevin, you might recognise the metal. See if you can guess what it is. 4mm thick, galvanised, often found on roadsides. I'll let you try and work it out. Okay, so the bracket does use some of the parts on the Specialist Components kit. You can see this spacer here, it just came in handy. I did think about having this arching bracket further back here, but it wasn't going to be easy to mount because there was running out of space and it was getting in the way of like the exhaust flanges and whatnot in there. So I just decided to have it going back down onto here, because obviously I needed a vertical facing here for this pulley. And then if you can see that in there, the little bit that it's sitting in, that was part of the Specialist Components kit as well, that bracket there. So I've robbed that and utilised that. So I think one of the few parts I haven't used was that longer one, that longer bobbin that I showed you in a previous video. So I'm using as much as I can. Another thing I've done, another thing I've done is I've turned the supercharger the way up that I wanted it, so the pipes can run down underneath the plenum chamber to give me more room at the front. That has meant I had to modify the block. Yeah, the block modifications consist of taking an angle grind to the front of the block, and the bits where your alternator would normally mount on an MPI, I don't know what you call them, the bosses or whatever, just got angle grinded off. If you can see that one as well, it's in the back of there, trust me, in there somewhere, and a little bit taken off the corner in there as well, and hopefully that should give me enough room for me silicone pipes, but we'll see. Right, welcome back. This will be the second half, last little section in chapter 8. It's midweek, time for a quick update. It's the bank holiday, Easter's just gone. So basically I spent all Easter working on Austin, which is the green 8-port, because I thought the oil leak on that was caused by the timing cover gasket. So I stripped out all that side of the engine, and you'll know what a pain in the backside that is. But I got it started and drove it across to the storage unit, and it was pissing oil out again. So the only place I can see it can be coming from is the half moon seal between the engine and the gearbox. So it's going to have to come out because it lost, well, a good amount of oil, and there's quite a large pool in the car park outside my storage unit. So that was all weekend, and then bank holiday Monday I brought Bumblebee back here, and I've started to strip the engine out, which we'll jump to next. But first, I've had another delivery, lots and lots of deliveries. This one is, you can see that, see the camera, that is all the pipes and connectors and bits and pieces that I think I need to connect the supercharger up with the throttle body. So the plan is just to do a dry assemble of that next. It won't be cut to length, so it'll be massively over long, but it'll all be there to show you what it's going to look like, but in a big scale as opposed to what it should be. So this is what the pipe's going to look like. We're starting off with a 90 degree 45mm coming off the supercharger, then into the dump valve. There's be a 25mm stub to go on there, which is the right size for the dump valve, and then on the end of the dump valve the trigger is from that little black brass union I've showed you before, with a bit of 3mm black pipe. So that'll be that. Then it's a 45 to 51 reducer, but going up in size depending which way you're looking at it. Then it goes into the specialist components alloy piece with the air temperature sensor in it. Then it's a 50 to 70mm adapter, then into a piece of 70mm alloy joiner, and then a 70mm 180 degree union, or 180 degree bend, I suppose, proper term. That's not a union, is it? And obviously a lot of these might need shortening where I can. Obviously that's way too tall to start with. It only needs to be about that deep at best. So that's what it's going to roughly look like. No allowance yet for an intercooler. Priority number one is to get it running. Priority number two is to try and find room for an intercooler. And you'll see the issues I've got with space in the next bit of footage. Okay, then here we are. You can see that I've started to fit a few parts just to check for clearance. I've got the inlet plenum in place, and over the back I've got the bracket that I made on the other dummy motor in the other room. I've had to do some changes to it to make it fit this exhaust manifold because it's slightly different. The branches are a little bit fatter, so I've had to take out a little bit of metal work in there where it goes over it and where it slides down between the two branches of the exhaust. I've done a test fit, and the alternator fits nicely in there, and there's room for the belt to go back down towards the crank pulley without it catching on the bulkhead at the back in there. That plate's going to have to come off anyway, so that's not an issue. It was catching on the bonnet, on the ribs, supporting ribs that come across from each corner of the bonnet. So I've been reducing it in height in this section here. You can see it looks considerably thinner in here than it is over there, but it is ever so slightly just touching there. You can see a little mark on my bracket, and also it is touching just in here as well, just on the very corner of this pipe. When you're looking at the bonnet, you can see that little mark on the edge of the circle there. That's where that fuel pipe is catching, so I just need to take a bit more out of there to make it clear. You can see previously I've taken sections out to make it clear the other air filter assembly. In this side of the engine bay I've removed all the air compressor and the air horns. They're going to have to go because I need this space. I've also looked at putting my oil cooler in here, where I previously talked about mounting it on the brackets, and it fits nicely on the brackets and ends up being about there, which would be all well and good, apart from I measured the supercharger to see how far out from the block it sticks, and if you can see in the back of there, there's a little bit of bobble on the water pump. Now I measured 130mm out from that bobble, and if I can hold it in the right place, I don't know if you can see that, but 130mm is almost in line with the slam panel, which is vertically down from there, and vertically down from there is right where my oil cooler was just sitting previously. So there's no room for the supercharger to fit in there and the oil cooler to fit in this space, which is about the only available space. So I don't know what the hell I'm going to do at the moment. So yeah, and I can't see how I can get an intercooler in here either. There's just no room. No room at all. So yeah, and all this wiring at the front, you can see how bad it's got affected by all that snow and ice and salt that it went out in. All these relays here that normally sit on the back of the grill in here, I'm gonna I've been seriously thinking about relocating them further back inside the car somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where yet, but I need the space. Whether that means I can then have the oil cooler in here, which is doable, remains to be seen. But the important thing is the plenum chamber fits, and I've got space down the front, which I didn't think I would have. There's room there for the throttle body. The only issue I have with the throttle body, reaching behind me again, throttle body is going to sit on here like that, and it's going to be about that angle. Obviously it's not going to be a square block, it's going to be shaped. That'll work well, but I haven't got much room here where my thumb is for the pipe to get turned round, never mind the elephant's trunk that's in the way there. So what I'm going to do to gain me an extra 15mm is that silver section here, you can see it's the same size as that hole. Well, I'm going to enlarge this hole so it slides over that, and that'll gain me extra little bit of room, and every little bit is helpful, and that'll give me a bit more room. The plan is to put the canister for the oil, for the supercharger oil, in there, where I can then put the oil cooler in here. But the only problem is, I put the oil cooler in there, there's not a lot of throughput of air, so don't know yet. Right, so that's going to be it for chapter 8. I've got a bit more modification to do on the brackets, try and fit in to make sure it all fits. I'll do the mods on the bonnet as well to make sure it clears this corner, and then this engine can come out. There's not a lot left to disconnect. I'll probably say about mounting my oil canister in there while I've got the wok in place, so I know how much room I've got. But I think for the moment that's it. As per usual, follow the prompt at the end, click on subscribe if you want to keep up to date, and I'll see you in episode 9.